To the first edition of the melting point for the week. I am NYAKNNO Albert. I've got my strike partner here this morning.
Yes, the usual suspect is in the house. I am Enquiry. Well, thanks for joining me.
I was going to say that you look like a suspect, but I'm not going to say it. The old sailor,
Well, good
looking
morning.
dapper this Monday morning.
Thank you. I want to wish myself well so that I can radiate happiness to my listeners at home.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
need to, as much as it's about to get serious in here this morning, we have to try to make sure we present it in a way that will not raise unnecessary fear and make people, wonder if they should still remain Nigerians or not.
That's why you're a professional.
Definitely. Welcome to the program once again, and today, we turn our attention to Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. You remember I mentioned the 166 kidnapped people in Kajuru local government in Kaduna State. Well, reports of a mass abduction during a church service the other Sunday have sparked fears, controversy, and sharp disagreements between communities and authorities. While residents, church leaders, and civil society groups insist that over 100 worshippers were taken by bandits, official statements initially questioned the report before later confirmations by the police. This raises serious questions about how Nigeria responds to security emergencies, the cost of delayed acknowledgement, and whether our systems are equipped to protect citizens, especially in remote communities. To help us understand the bigger picture beyond the headlines, we're joined in the studio by one of our regular analysts on the program this morning. He's a man of many parts. He's a retired teacher we hear. He's a farmer, a public affairs analyst, and a commentator on various issues across different sectors. Well, the man I'm talking about is Otweko Donald Enquiry. Good morning, Otweko. It's nice to have you with us on the program today.
Good morning. This is the last week of the month. January is gone. And also, you have done a good work in giving us some old school vibes this morning.
Yeah, we're always memorable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, talking about the last week of the month, we have not heard a lot of complaints that is usually associated with January, how the month tends to move slowly,
Yes.
or how things tend to be difficult. But it looks like January 2026 has been a pretty smooth one.
Yeah, I think it's unlike like you said, unlike the normal January, which is always, it looks long, but this January looks to be quite fast. I don't know why it is so, but it is quite fast. That's why the complaint are not coming. Normally, it's the longest month.
Yeah.
Because by the time you finish all your money and December spending for all manner of celebration and the fest, it's always challenging during the new month. Some people travel. The cost of traveling is quite expensive and all that.
Well, welcome to the program once again. Remember, you can be a part of the discussion via the phone lines on 0803 085 7755 and 0829 066 6909. The second number also serves as our WhatsApp number. So if you send a message there, we'll also read it here in the course of the program this morning. So we dive straight into the thick of the action. In Kajuru, authorities initially disputed the abduction before police reports later confirmed it occurred. This pattern has been seen before in incidents like Chibok and others.
Yeah.
Otweko, why do mass abduction reports in Nigeria often start with official denial before later confirmation?
I think it's the nature of the government who are not, number one, they are not concerned about the problem of the people. Number two, persons in government are directly implicated with insecurity in Nigeria. So the first thing you're going to hear is denial. That is a common thing that we hear in Nigeria, is to deny this one, and that is why now there's need for us to always keep documents. Documentation is very important, because in the future, when it is okay for many of these people who are implicated in insecurity in Nigeria will be called to book. These are important facts that will be used against them. If you can remember, at the end of the Second World War, why so many of those Germans and people who were involved in the SS, Waffen SS, who were involved in killing about 6 million Jews. The report was so accurate because the Germans keep detailed information of what they are doing. And so this report were caught before they were burnt, and they were used in arresting many of them, and many of them who even had run away. There were documents that were able to be used, because the same thing that happened in Rwanda must be used against these people who are committing genocide across the country for whatever reason or the other. They have to pay for it, if not today, tomorrow, and we need to keep records. And they are doing everything to make sure that this thing is denied. Remember that the police accepted what happened only when the communities came up with detailed names of those people. That's number one. And you have to understand that according to the community, the members of those churches, it was Equa Church, Evangelical Church of West Africa, and Cherubim and Seraphim. 2 Equa Church, I think 2 Cherubim and Seraphim Church and 1 Equa Church were attacked in that village. And 177 were taken.
So not even Catholic Church?
No, I don't think Catholic Church was.
Catholic came out to, put up a report that none of their members
were taken.
Yes,
but so 177 and 11 were able to escape by the river, according to what they said, according to eyewitnesses, those who escaped, that it was when they were about to cross the river, and some of them were old, they couldn't walk as fast, and that's how they succeeded in escaping. The rest are there. So it was when the information, the names of the people kidnapped came out. That is why the police capitulated, and they came out, according to the community people, they said when that kidnapping happened, that the local government chairman came and told them, please keep it quiet, don't accept, don't talk to any media or anybody. That is what they said. So it was only when the information came out that even the police came later. If you look at the official page of the Nigerian police on even like Facebook, they came in to say, this is why we said nothing happened, because we wanted to. The reason doesn't make sense. We wanted to do a...
Well, let's just go there. According to the police, the early comments were meant to prevent panic.
Okay.
I mean, we're not going to be telling information managers how to do their job, but we also know that there is definitely a better way to prevent panic than deny an incident.
Yeah, we know.
Well, what are the risks when security forces focus on managing public panic instead of acting immediately on community reports? It creates a time lag, before you can even go straight to even find out exactly what happened. Most of those people are gone. But in Nigerian situation is more peculiar than that. What we have in Nigeria is simply a situation where even the people in the security are aware. They said these people are taken to a particular camp. There's in the way a name they call that camp, where people are tortured. And how come a camp like that is in existence? Nobody seems to know about it. In Plateau State, there is a particular community. It is on, Plateau has a lot of this rock. It's on an elevated platform, and the people had gone there, removed everybody. They killed the people who owned that place, and took over the place. And unfortunately, as we speak, the Norwegian government is building some kind of facility for those people there. These Fulani terrorists, they are building something there for them. You see, we cannot substantiate that.
It is fully, listen, it is fully, I'm telling you before I come out with this information, it is fully substantiated. I want Nigerians to know, those who are listening to me, that even the normal papers or online newspapers of Nigerian origin may not give you what is happening, but we have a source of information I want Nigerians to always go and check. These are the people who are running the IDP camps in Nigeria. Nigerians are not running any IDP camp, not even the government. Even government IDP camps have been taken over by these NGOs. As we speak, go to truthnigeria.com and check. It is meant to, because when there was this kind of lack of information from the regular media in Nigeria, these people came up with a website called Truth Nigeria, and they have been 99% correct when they say something is going to happen in Nigeria. You understand me? These are the people running IDP camps. There's a man I want Nigerians to always follow on Facebook. He's called George Saul. It's JUDD and then the normal Saul. Go and check his page. Go and check the page of what do you call this man, NYAKNNO, whom this man brought into Nigeria. They are all on Facebook. Follow them. Follow Masari King. Follow them. These are journalists in the bush who are coming out with this information, not our normal papers. Follow Ezekiel Datomo, the referent who made Trump to come to Nigeria. Those information is where Nigerians can get the truth about what is going on in Nigeria.
Okay, this is the melting point on Memories 96.5 FM, and we are on to the recent abductions in Kaduna State. Ochego, a similar event had occurred during President Goodluck Jonathan, where, of course, during the abduction of the Chibok girls, the government initially, denied it took place, but much later accepted. Now, the time frame, do you think the time frame between the time of these abductions and when the government or security forces will eventually intervene, the intervening period, does it show the weaknesses of the military, or what do you think happens during the lacuna?
Yeah, you see, one thing we need to know now, let us separate.
Is it time for negotiations, or were they waiting for negotiations?
No, I think it is simply the problem of our security architecture, the way it's structured, and the systemic corruption and problems that is there. But first, let us just clear a little some fact. In the days of Jonathan, you could see clearly that Nigerians were not even prepared for what happened. They didn't know. So if Jonathan denied, the Jonathan government denied, they were naive. They didn't understand exactly what was going on, because we have never had such a situation in Nigeria. We are used to, like the Kanu riot, like the Matasene something. We're not used to this kind of sophisticated kidnapping of persons. You see the point? So this was a challenge we were having. So Jonathan didn't know. The people managing security in Nigeria as of then didn't even know, because this was just the first time. So you could excuse them for not being able to handle that matter properly. But these days, after so many years, 10 years plus or so, since 2009, it's a long time. It's getting to, I think, more than 15 years. And we are still at the same level of managing security. What is the real problem? The real problem is simply political. It is not even security wise. The problem we have in insecurity in Nigeria has roots in politics. It has nothing to do with whether the soldiers are efficient or not. If you look at what is going on today, I saw a video of where these people, the Nigerian military, is making some incursions deep into where these people are staying. And you heard President Trump just at Davos said, we are making a lot of strides in we are killing a lot of those people who are causing insecurity in Nigeria. It simply means that because we have an external force that is pushing Nigeria to act. And I want to remind people that I think last Friday, this Americans anti-terrorism squad in Nigeria already, they had a meeting with the National Security Advisor. So these people are the ones actually pushing. But as far as Nigeria is concerned, number one, you have a government that lives in denial, a government that spends Nigerian money to cover up the true situation of Nigeria, which simply means that there are people in government who are implicated in what is going on. Remember what Jonathan said? He said, I have Boko Haram members in my government, in Aso Rock.
And Ocheko, I know the funny thing that these people were marched on foot into a nearby village.
That is the point we keep on saying.
Which of course the government is aware of where they are.
Let me tell you, the people know. People are talking about a particular location where those people are kept. You understand me? So within the military or within the security agencies in Nigeria, there are those who are implicated in this business. The thing has a different facet. Number one is a religious war. Number two, it is used as a political weapon, leverage against opponents. Number three is pure criminality. All of them are rolled into one.
All right.
You see the point? Yes.
Let's get back to talking about conflicting reports. Survivors, church leaders, and civil society groups insist the abduction happened, while officials question the report. How serious do you think the communication gap between security agencies and local communities is in crisis like this?
No, I don't think in this particular situation, you could say there was a communication gap during Jonathan's days when Chibok happened. But today, nobody can claim that, because kidnappings are happening virtually everywhere, the whole of the Middle Belt. So the moment you hear it, you need to, first and foremost, believe that it is true and do your. That is why the first thing they would have said would have been, we are looking into it. We have sent our men to the field to check the veracity of this information instead of coming out to deny. You understand me? So there's no communication problem. It's simply that those in power are not particularly interested in the security of the citizens. If they are, they would have acted better. Because when you look at what is going on now, everybody is talking about political alignment against 2027. Since security is not in the front burner among our political class, and unfortunately not just them. You talk about the average citizen in society, our attention span to problems of that is of very critical importance to us is too short. Nigerians prefer, I don't know, it's like there's a cyst that they use in covering their mind so that they will not have hypertension more and more and more, so that we don't want to focus our attention on issues that are of great importance to us. And I tell you, as long as we don't do that, we are not going to be in control of the narrative. Let me tell you why. Recently, Yakubu Mohammed died. You may not know about Yakubu Mohammed, but he's one of the, Oselo should know, he's one of the 4 men that founded a magazine called Newsroom in 1984, I think, 1983 or 84. Now, those men, if it wasn't for them, we would not have been able to do away with the military regime in 1999. They fought. They focused on the problem of Nigeria, which was to take away a military regime. They never lost focus. All those journalists, those ones in Newswatch, and the ones in TEL that came later, and I think there was another one, was it Enquiry or something like that. Those, even the ones in the normal newspaper, they were focused on the fact that we had problem with military regime. But you notice today, that kind of focus is not there. We try to downplay the important situation. We try to forget what is happening. And that is how those people are succeeding to take away the narrative from things that are important. So the problem we have in Nigeria is not that we are not managing, that there's any communication gap. It is a deliberate ploy to make sure that the focus is not on issues that are important to Nigeria. And that is why we heard $9 million was taken. And don't tell me it's not true, because it's true. And this is not speculation. They said the people who the group that a lobby group in America were given this money, and the law in America is that whenever any foreign government or any foreign body or anyhow wants to lobby America, they can't come to the government because they don't have access. So they do it through lobby groups. And when you give them money, they are duty bound. It is by law. They have to publish who is giving them the reason for this thing and how much is being given. So the DCI itself published it on their website that the Nigerian government gave them $9 million, 750,000, a 1-year project for one year every month, to lobby the reason to take away the attention of the American government on the fact that Christians are being killed in Nigeria. That is what they are doing. They said it. It's not that anybody went and found that. They publish it on their website. Well, you understand me? So it's true. So the problem is that the government is deliberately trying to make sure that the attention is not focused on that.
Members of that community argue that time lost arguing over the facts allows kidnappers to move victims deeper into forest, making rescue more difficult.
Yes.
Then conflicting statements have created some sort of confusion, fear, and even anger among residents and the public.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think this early denial or delay by government officials affect the rescue operations and the safety of the victims? And how damaging is public disagreement between state authorities, police, and community sources during security emergencies like this?
Number one, let me tell you, we have an issue of inefficiency, a historical inefficiency of our security agencies. And I remember when we had, and around where I was living then, we had an armed robbery attack. And I was in the bush. It wasn't in my house. It was a house of the people living opposite me. I went into the bush. It was even around 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 p.m. in the evening. And I now called because I had the number of the police. I called the police. The police didn't come until the operation had concluded. And they left the 2 flats they were operating in. And when they came in, let me tell you, I think it was on a Saturday evening. I can quite remember. Why I can remember that was that there was a neighbor of mine that got wedded that day. And when the police came, and the young man who was wedding came with his came on a white motorbike, he just removed his shirt. He was on a short, he wore a short, I saw a white top, and he was even wearing the socks. It was the white socks, and just came on a bike to go and buy something for the wife. This was Saturday evening. The police arrested him. He was bailed on Monday. You understand me? And they took him. You know, they took him before. By the time they came back, those people were already far gone. So that is on one hand the challenges of inefficiency of our security agencies. Now on this even issue, they are not interested in making sure that these people are caught, and that is why that time lag is there. But even outside the time lag that allows these criminals to go into the forest, how big is this forest in the north and how thick it is? I have traveled a lot of places in the north. I know, yes, you do have forest, you understand me, but I wonder how deep a forest is that it would be so difficult for even the security agencies to operate. Let me tell you, Harry Udo has been here in this studio, yes, and Harry Udo's daughter was kidnapped, you know, and Harry Udo, the impression Harry Udo got from his communication with the policemen in Kogi State was that the people are taking them far into the forest. But when he paid 5 million naira and the daughter was released, and he asked the daughter, how far were you? The daughter said, where we were throughout that place was just a stone throw. You can stand there and see the express. You see the point I'm trying to say? If you can stand there and see the express, he has said it on air on many occasions. You know, you can stand there and see the express. So so it means that the people who were claiming to be the ones searching for these people were directly implicated in this business. So that's why we are saying that it is not just, it is one a religious matter, it is one a political matter, and the third one is that it is a criminal venture by certain people.
The attack
happened
in a remote area that, according to security forces, was difficult to access due to bad roads and terrain. What do you think the Kajuri incident tells us about the state's control of rural and difficult to reach areas?
I think truly it is difficult to reach, but you have other tools that could be used to reach that place. The military has helicopters, even police have it. The Air Force is there. You have drones you could have used, and Nigerians are operating with drones. They could have used drones. If Boko Haram are using drones now, how come they didn't use drones immediately? The moment you hear that kind of thing, the Air Force would have been up in arms, the army everywhere. If journalists, foreign journalists who are bringing out, documenting the killing of Nigerians, are using drones to observe where these people are hiding, which the government knows. How come the government cannot use drones to follow up those people? Drones, this is today, modern warfare is fought with drones. That is what is happening. Everybody is using that now. You can have internet link that can help you control a lot of things. Today you have what do you call it? You have this Starlink that is everybody's using. It's being used in Ukraine today. You understand? So the truth of the matter is that as far as I know, and where a lot of people have pointed out, they are collusion. They say there's a name they call a particular camp those people are taken to. Does the government say they are not aware that there's a camp like that? I mean, if somebody posts something against Mr. President or something, and even if they hide the DC, they trace the people to go and arrest. If the DSS was able to arrest people, the person who paraded, who came out with that information that the former governor of Lagos and the former minister of power, Fashola, was the one writing the judgment for the presidential election tribunal at the Supreme Court or something like that. If they could succeed in finding that person, is it impossible in Nigeria to find out where those people are being kept? That's number one. Number two, those people, some of them do. I saw a video where a bandit, they had kidnapped a girl, he was kissing that girl, telling everybody this is a woman. It's there on social media. They kill people, make a phone this thing, and then they show. How are these kidnappers making communication with families? And through the phone, I remember somebody told me that how his phone was lost and the security agencies were able to tell him where exactly, and he just went there and saw the guy coming down and told him, give me my phone, and the guy put his hand in his phone. He has changed everything about the phone and handed over the phone to him. How is it difficult for security agencies in Nigeria to trace and know where these people are making these videos from, the numbers they are using, the phone calls they are using to do negotiation? They know all those things. So the problem of insecurity in Nigeria has deep root in politics, and until we can change the situation, we will not go far in sorting out this insecurity problem. Even these Americans that are coming, I saw a post on Facebook, somebody said even among those who are sitting with the Americans to discuss, there are most there who are working for the terrorists, and I believe it's true. So that's the problem we are having. So the problem is not whether there is terrain is bad or terrain. We have tools that can be used to successfully get to those people and arrest them.
All right. According to a former presidential candidate, he said the trolling pattern will certainly increase international scrutiny of Nigeria's security situation. Of course, following U.S. airstrikes on terrorist targets in northern Nigeria. Well, and he goes on to say the period after strikes often see additional attacks that reportedly, will be downplayed by officials, and points out several of these incidents that have happened in Nigeria.
Yes. And
saying Nigerian government are aware of this. Why do you think the government, having been aware of this, is still being complacent, is still dragging its feet, is still not interested in solving the situation, taking up arms, like you said, against these bandits? They are rather downplaying it for political reasons. What do you think will be the way forward at the end of the day?
Because it is beneficial for them to
more profitable
for them to continue this insecurity. There are a lot of things happening that Nigerians will need to understand. But again, let me just point out something before I even forget. Let's remember that the main people are killing people across this country are Fulani terrorists. Now, America are just fighting two people. There's a serious fight going on right now in the Boko Haram area in Borno State. They are penetrating into areas that hitherto they said it was impossible for security operatives to go into. And the people they bombed in Sokoto were Lakarawa. Lakarawa certainly are the same Fulanis, but they come from another part of the West Africa. If you go to most of those countries like Mali, there are the people still operating there. So they come from there down to this other side to operate. And my fear is that the moment all those ISWAP they are talking about, the ISIS link, this and that, you understand me, have been reasonably decimated, Americans may even lose interest, and the worst kind of killing that is going on will come. When America bombed, according to those who are keeping the statistics, say 120 people have been killed, mostly Christians in the Middle Belt. You see the point I'm trying to say? So we have more of those things happening because somehow the snake is wounded and they are going on to do a lot of things. Remember that recently that Toriji, I thought that he must have been caught by the crossfire of the American bomb. We hear that a lot of people are moving out of a certain area in Sokoto because the man has threatened he's going to take action, so people packed their loads and they went. That is what is going on. So the Nigerian government, is more interested. You see, there's a culture in Nigeria. You see, a student will do something, will come out like we had, I don't know whether it was Akwa Ibom State University or which other higher institution. Things are not working, and a student comes out to say, this thing is bad on social media. They say, so place is a brand. You need to protect it. Look at the copper that has been made to repeat an extra year because he criticized Mr. President. I was talking about how Lagos is this and that. She has been made to repeat one extra year. Why was she done? She would have been she was arrested. It was a human rights activist that went to get her free. So in Nigeria, we like to commit all manner of atrocity and expect Nigerians to protect that kind of image. How can I protect an image that is not beneficial to me? They talk about patriotism. Patriotism is simply love for your country. If you are a father and then every time you go home, you cannot provide something for your children, no bread as you are going home every day, and your children are dying of hunger, you expect those children to love you? They cannot. So this is the problem we have in Nigeria. They want you to cover up a bad bad governance, but they don't want to do what is right.
Alright, the talker. If you're just stopping by, this is the melting point on Memories 96.5 FM. Time check is 10:33 on a Monday morning, the 26th of January 2026. In a few minutes, we'll be opening the phone line to take your calls, but you can start sending in your messages on WhatsApp on 0829 066 6909. We're streaming live on Facebook at Memories 965 FM, so you can also drop a comment there and we'll read it out here this morning. Back to Kajuru. Well, just a week before this incident, the same community reportedly paid ransom to secure the release of abducted residents, about 20 million to secure the release of 11 residents.
Yeah.
Do you think the repeated payment of ransom encourages more kidnappings in communities like this? Now, the bandits on the side are demanding the replacement of their motorcycles that were lost by due to a military raid. They say each motorcycle cost about 1.7 million naira.
Yes.
And they need about 28.9 million naira for 17 motorcycles. That is a side ransom to be paid for the release of the captives.
Yeah.
What is this with this repeated payment of ransom? I mean, military raids a community, tries to raid and weed out bandits, and the bandits in retaliation go on a spree of kidnapping 177 people.
Yeah, you see, those problems are it's quite unfortunate that there are epicenters that the security operatives are supposed to concentrate. But you see, the Nigerian security architecture is structured to protect the interests of the elites and the powerful, the politicians. Let me show you a very simple example. Recently, you heard the issue in, I think Edo State, was it Ekpoma or one of the universities, where students were protesting against the kidnapping.
Should be Ambrose Ali University.
Yes, Ambrose Ali. I think that's Ekpoma now.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the government did nothing about the kidnapping. Then the student protested and they have been arrested. You understand me? Now, somebody wrote something on this and said
there was even a counter protest
yes
to the students' protest.
Yeah. Now, there was a blanket security operation in that area not to stop the kidnapping, but to stop the student from protesting. You see the point? Students have been arrested. This is the only country in the world where people, those who are what do you call them? Those who are terrorists are committing any act they want and they are going free. But those who are protecting against being kidnapped or protesting against kidnapping are now going to jail for protesting against kidnapping. Meanwhile, those committing those activities are just there. So that is what you see. When you see in a country like Nigeria where you have the military catching, I think, 70 terrorists, and then a state governor says, because of an existing peace deal, we are going to set them free. And now they are being, I don't know whether they have been successfully been set free or not have been set free, but then we have heard this thing happening. So when you have those kind of situation, it is very difficult for you to see an end to any of these things across any part of the country. You understand me? We are going to have a continual impact of this kind of actions happening as long as you don't have serious political action taken against I think terrorists. You understand me? So these are the problems that we are having across the country. So it's not going to work unless we have serious political decision taken.
Well, according to the military in Kaduna, they say they are taking their time to do a combination of ground patrols, surveillance, intelligence gathering, and targeted initiatives, and to really locate the kidnappers and secure the hostages without jeopardizing their safety. In other words, they are perhaps planning how to reach out to the kidnappers and those abducted.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's why it's taking time.
One of the terrorists said after the kidnapping of the children in Niger State, he was on a video. He said, "What are you? The people know exactly what to do now. Let them go and settle those people and get the kids back." You see the point? So that is what we are always doing. We take money, go and give them and get the kids back. But okay, it is fine. The excuse is this, that those children are not safe. if the government takes action against the terrorists. But after you are paid the ransom, what do you do? Because you can use the ransom to one, locate exactly where they are, and number two, after you are paid, it's not easy. 20 million is not 100,000 which you can put in your pocket. Even 1 million now, you can put 1 million. 1 million could be one or two bundles or so of this thing you can put in your pocket. So you know, if they are serious about making sure that this matter is solved, they have to go after these people even after you have paid them the ransom. You can use the ransom as a bet.
But the government says it doesn't pay ransom.
It says, how do they get it? If the terrorists could come in and say, oh, you people know what to do, go and pay and collect your children.
The Minister of Defense has come up publicly to dissuade governments, individuals, families, private or companies from paying ransom to kidnappers.
Can you blame families? Do you know the way they torture those people? Ask people who were even our local kidnappers here in those days when they kidnapped somebody. I remember a man who was kidnapped, and when a friend of mine, I think the father was kidnapped, the guy was telling him, I mean, look for where and pay those people. I don't want to mention names. And that the way they treated my father and my brother, that it was terrible. You understand me?
Okay.
So the way they treat those people, and the people don't care. They said even I have a friend of mine who worked for a big company in Kano in the north. They were making a road. The guy had to find his way back to the southwest. He said, look, in those places that they can just come into a community like this, God forbid it won't happen here, they can just come into a community like this, and when they come in, they start shooting everybody. If people start running, they shoot. Those who stop running, these are the ones they capture. So they are like that. So when they put people like that, why could you not pay money? You pay money and the government doesn't care.
Well, this particular community in Kaduna State, Kajuru, has suffered multiple attacks in a short period, and it raises questions about whether the warning signs were ignored or were missed. As a matter of fact, earlier today, if you listen to today's papers from 8 to 8:30, there was a headline in one of the papers about a fresh kidnap in that community of 6 people.
Yeah, I think I've read about that.
So, what role do you think intelligence gathering should play in preventing repeated attacks on the same communities?
Now, unfortunately, let me say this, because I keep on saying to Nigerians, follow another place. This is what is called Nigerian Terrorism Tracker. It is now, it's online, by those who are helping to keep our people safe, who are running the IDP camps. Now, the person who is running this stuff, George Saul, I said, so George is J-U-D-D, then Saul, S-A-U-L. Saul, like Saul in the Bible. The man said recently, he posted a video and said that the Nigerian president calls him a liar when he said this is what is going to happen in one particular community where about, is it 12 people were killed. Because the man said his terrorism tracking this thing is in Nigeria is 90% accurate. Anytime he says this, exactly, because he had come out before, I was following him, he said there is going to be attack in about 3 communities in the Middle Belt, that the government should take action against it, and action was not taken. And when action was not taken, exactly in that community, 12 people were killed during that Christmas period. And the man came up to say, anybody, you can go to his Facebook page, George Saul on Facebook is there, and check some of the video. You see where he said the president of Nigeria called me a liar for making this thing, and it has happened. You see the point I'm trying to say? So this is where we have problem. When you have a government that is not really, that doesn't take these things very seriously, because they are more concerned in trying to cover up the atrocities that is happening, because they are incapable of handling it. You understand? So they will come out and say whatever they want to say.
0803 085 7755 089 066 6909. It's time to have you be a part of the program this morning, and those are the 4 lines for you to call and have your say on any, of course, on the topic of discussion today. We're looking at security, the latest incident in the northern region of the country, the kidnap of 177 people, how they were moved from one location to the other unhindered, and the initial denial by security agencies and subsequent concession that yes, the incident actually happened. So when you call in, try to be as civil as possible and as concise as possible. You can also send a message on WhatsApp on 0809 0666909 or drop a comment on our live stream on Facebook at Memories 965 FM. We have a call here. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to everyone.
Welcome to the program.
Joseph Daniel, South Africa.
Joseph, go ahead.
You know why this insecurity will continue? The killings and kidnappings and all this nonsense.
Tell us.
It's because when it's time for election, these same politicians and our rulers today, they are the same people that will buy guns and these people to come and run elections for them. Election by smashing the ballot box and in a side of them.
Joseph, you speak like you know.
Just like me. It is going to happen again. That is why it will never end. But for that, by now, there will not be like insecurity. But because of election, because of selfish and greedy politicians that want to grab at all costs, this will continue to be there. Yeah, the politicians are the ones that sponsor it. And they will use them again 2027 when it's time for election. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Well, I'll just chalk that up to, a mere allegation, because you cannot say that when you do not have all the facts. 0803 085 7755 0809 066 6909. Keep your calls coming in. This is the window for calls, and we'll be heading back to more questions as we will be rounding off just before 11 o'clock this morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, the hotel.
Yeah, good morning. Well, just called to wish me good morning.
Well, apparently, good morning.
All
Of
right.
course, the phone lines are still open. 0803 085 7755 0809 066 6909. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
good morning. Welcome.
This is Don. I'm from here.
All right, good morning. Go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I don't really have much problem, but the main problem is that in that thing, an individual cannot be more than the government. But if the citizen would arise, they use their power, that's their food. But if they see that the government is not working, you should take out. There's no problem, but you don't be an individual cannot be more than the government. They don't have money than the government. They know they stop with, they know they stop the other guys that are eating their hands. It's for them to stop, but they will not stop it. But this time that was the issue of all this nonsense. It's not from it's not a human being. They know the fault.
All right, thank you.
So they are tired of it.
All right,
The government, so they made, as they are saying, they are made some of this thing.
Thank you very much for calling. Keep your calls coming in as we head back to more questions on the program this morning. Well, we have a message on WhatsApp. We have another call. Let's take the call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, the whole day long.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, your father is there.
Good morning, sir.
Professor, how your name just keep my mind now.
Welcome.
Yes, they do. Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you,
This
sir.
Bob, calling from
Yaku is in the house.
Yes. Good morning, NYAKNNO.
Yes, Bob, welcome.
Yes,
Go
please,
ahead.
I want to get something straight. Did you people say that the bandits are looking for money to buy their vehicle that?
No, we
Well,
didn't
that's
say
part
so.
of their conditions to
We
release.
didn't say so. The
victims.
paper says so.
Go ahead.
Okay, I told you. I can say that is the injury in the highest order. Now, talking about the ransom pay, for me, it's like the blood of the mouth. Sometimes it's difficult for you to pour it out, and also difficult for you to swallow. Because you don't have your relative in captivity, and you have the money to pay, and you say you are not going to pay. I'm talking about the individual now, I'm not
Yes.
talking about the federal government. But I want to say that there are all those saboteurs and all those kind of people. They are people that are also the bad eggs. Let me put it that way, in the military, because they will be giving information even to those bandits. There are some of them there, they need to free them out. So I think the problem also is also with those in military. they also have some loopholes. And for the federal government to deny it, I don't know, when they say, sometimes they will say they have rescued those that have been kidnapped. And you know, there's a difference between rescued and released. Because those people, sometimes they are released, they are not rescued. Because when you are talking about rescue, you have to see some of the families being arrested. You have to see some war, you know, those kind of things. But this was nothing like that. They will say they have rescued.
All right then.
So that is not rescue, that is release.
Thank you, Bob.
It's very, very bad. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Well, we'll pause on the calls right now. I mean, an analysis of the 177 names obtained by newsmen revealed that entire households were abducted. Families such as the Jonathan household had 12 members kidnapped. The Amos family had 13, Marcus and Makudi 10, Ishaya and Danisha 7 each. So this is something that has a devastating impact on the families in that part of Nigeria. Well, victims include young children, elderly women, whole households taken. What does the abduction of entire families, including children and the elderly, say about the changing nature of banditry?
Yeah, you see, these days they are not. If you notice the change, there are some other changes that are happening. They are not just before they would just enter like that church, burn down and shoot everybody dead. But these days, I think for the finances and maybe the guys behind them have made sure that please don't kill them again, just kidnap them and we get money from them, because it's more lucrative to collect ransom than killing them. So this is this thing we have seen. I think after Trump said what he said, even though you still have some killings going on, you still have some what do you call it? Some burning of farms. Like they say, one of this thing was just shown on one of the major news networks, News Central, where a farmland of a retired general was burnt hectares. You know, I lived in Benue State, and I remember I had this a man called then he was a colonel in the Air Force, I think a wing commander or something like that, and a air commodore. So Michelia was his name. In his farm, you could stand in his yam farm alone had one line of the yam farm had about 700 yam mounds. So you can imagine how large. If you stand in the middle of Michelia's farm, you can't see the four ends of the farm. So imagine, and the reason you see the increase of the prices of food in Nigeria as we speak today is simply because there's not enough food coming out of Benue State, because Benue State is the food basket of Nigeria. I lived there, I lived in Tactical Air Command. I can tell you, the people truly farm, and because they can't farm like they used to, that's why we are suffering today.
What would you say some of these people that have been kidnapped or abducted are kept for political reasons?
I think you see, like I said, you see, this thing has so many angles. You have the religious angle. The fight of Udman and Fudi is still continuing, even though we live in denial, we say it's not happening. And the political angle is there, is to create an organized chaos to make sure that it creates some kind of something for the sitting, yes, unrest for the government in power, either to make concessions or to lose power. That's what was used in 2015 to remove Jonathan. And then the third one is simply pure criminality, where they are gaining from these things financially. And that's why I can tell you that because of certain things are happening, that is making people in even the security agencies to be involved in this business.
All right, let's wrap things up this morning on the program like this. I mean, despite repeated deployments after incidents, mass abductions continue across several states.
Yeah.
This is just Kaduna State we're talking about. We don't know what might happen before the end of this week.
Yeah.
Beyond deploying troops after attacks, what do you see as a long-term solution that can realistically reduce mass kidnappings in the country?
Yes, let me start from a sector, let me start from another place, and let's look at like the religious circle, for example. Let's look at the traditional thing where they can say something. Number one, let's look at our Christian community. I was here yesterday on my program Gospel 12, and I can tell you that information is not coming out. I asked my guests on air, have you ever heard about a man called Ezekiel that he said he has never heard it? He's a pastor. You see, so we are not using our platform. this man, as much as we complain about what he said, Coca recently, but there's something deeper he said in the statement. He said Christians are the most educated in the 80% of educated people are Christians. 80% of business are on that. If Christians stand their ground, many of these things will not happen. Nobody said fight, but use your influence. Right now as we speak, there are 2 men in Benue State who have been sued, taken to court on terrorism charges. And what is their crime? They killed 12 cows that came to eat, they took to their farms to eat. They are standing in this thing. So we are not using our platform to help. You look at traditional rulers, especially those in the north. Questions are being asked of the Sultan of Sokoto. You are the head of his Muslim in Nigeria. And you see especially Christians are being killed in the Middle East by your own ethnic people. The seat of power you are seated was formed by this same action 200 years ago. Why have you not declared a fatwa against the killing of these people? The silence. You look at what even the Emir of Sanusi did recently. He's a man who's always vocal, going around everywhere. He was in Ghana. His own people were causing chaos in Ghana, and the Ghanaians are not like Nigeria. They couldn't tolerate it. So they arrested them, some of them were fought against and killed, and their cars were killed. He was in Ghana. But we have not sent it to try to talk down so that those things will not happen. Why is it not happening in Nigeria that you, who has been going around, you cannot come to the Middle Belt and call your brothers and say, look, from now onward, don't kill these people again. It is their land. Nothing like that has been done. So these are some of those things that need to be done. If pressure is being put, because we say of democracy, the price for democracy is eternal vigilance. We are not vigilant. Churches are not saying anything. During last December, you had almost all the churches gathering for convention. Have you heard any of them say anything about the killings? This year, you have most of them doing fasting. Some are doing fasting now, some just concluded. Have you heard any of them saying, no, but they're not doing anything? How many churches in Nigeria are running IDP camps? IDP camps are run by Americans. Almost all. All right. So these are the things we need to do to take steps. We are not doing it, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for thanking me.
And well, as we wrap up today, one thing is clear. The tragedy in Kajuru is not just about disputed numbers or conflicting statements. It's about real people, real families, and real lives caught in the grip of insecurity. So when communities cry out for help and authorities debate facts, the danger is that precious time is lost and trust is weakened. The questions raised today go beyond Kajuru. They speak to Nigeria's wider struggle with security, accountability, and the value we place on human life. Thank you for listening to The Melting Point today. Join us again tomorrow for another edition. Until then, I am NYAKNNO Albert. Do enjoy the rest of our broadcast.
Thank you very much for joining us, and have a nice day. I am Anifiok Enquiry.